Welcome to DEMOCREPUBLIX, where we cover the real news that matter to we the people. Clinton body count. Yes, it's real, and the media claims Jeffrey Epstein is the latest addition. Tim Brown from the Washington Standard reports that while outlets such as Snopes and others provide cover for socialist, communist, Islamist, and sodomite movement, the fact is they have also attempted to dismiss the claims that the Clinton body count isn't real. However, the list is so compelling that even CBS Las Vegas posted it, calling it conspiracy theory. Now, the Clinton friend and fellow traveler of the Lolita Express is alleged to have committed suicide. Can we add billionaire Jeffrey Epstein to the long list of those who have had ties to the Clintons, who have lost their lives in untimely deaths? I think the majority of the people in America will answer with a resounding yes. He's already written 2 reports on Epstein alleged suicide. In one of those, he called into question whether Epstein's death was fake, and that rallies and relies heavily on what took place last month and the conflicting story of his cell and what is alleged to have happened to him, as well as the fact that not one person in the Manhattan area can attest to him going to the hospital, being in the morgue, or getting past the rude gatekeeper manning the phones at the Manhattan Correction Center. With that said, CBS did report in 2016 the following list of deceased people as being part of the Clinton body count, or Clinton Deadpool. 1. James McDougal. Clinton convicted Whitewater partner died of an apparent heart attack while in solitary confinement. He was a key witness to the Ken Starr's investigation. Mary Mahoney, a former White House intern, was murdered July 1997 at the Starbucks coffee shop in Georgetown. The murder happened just after she was to go public with her story of sexual harassment in the White House. Of course, Vince Foster, former White House counselor and colleague of Hillary Clinton at Little Rock's Rose law firm, died of a gunshot wound to the head, ruled a suicide. Ron Brown, Secretary of Commerce and former DNC chairman, reported to have died by impact in a plane crash. A pathologist close to the investigation reported that there was a hole in the top of Brown's skull resembling a gunshot wound. At the time of his death, Brown was being investigated and spoke publicly of his willingness to cut a deal with prosecutors. The rest of the people on the plane also died. A few days later, the air traffic controller committed suicide. C. Victor Razor II. Razor, a major player in the Clinton fundraising organization, died in a private plane crash in July 1992. Paul Tully, Democratic National Committee political director, found dead in a hotel room in Little Rock, September 1992, described by Clinton as a dear friend and trusted advisor. Ed Wiley, Clinton fundraiser, found dead November 1993 deep in the woods in VA of a gunshot wound to the head, ruled a suicide. Ed Wiley died on the same day his wife, Kathleen Wiley, claimed Bill Clinton groped her in the Oval Office in the White House. Ed Wiley was involved in several Clinton fundraising events. Jerry Parks, head of Clinton's gubernatorial secretary team in Little Rock, security team in Little Rock, gunned down in his car at the deserted intersection outside Little Rock's Park's son said his father was building a dossier on Clinton. He alleged threatened to reveal this information. After he died, the files were mysteriously removed from his house. James Bunch, he died from a gunshot suicide. It was reported that he had a black book of people which contained names of influential people who visited prostitutes in Texas and Arkansas. Number 10, you got James Wilson. He was found dead in May 1993 from an apparent hanging suicide. He was reported to have ties to Whitewater. Kathy Ferguson, ex-wife of Arkansas trooper Danny Ferguson, was found dead in May 1994 in her living room with a gunshot to her head. It was ruled a suicide even though there were several packed suitcases as if she was going somewhere. Danny Ferguson was a co-defendant along with Bill Clinton in the Paula Jones lawsuit. Kathy Ferguson was a possible corroborating witness for Paula Jones. Then you got Bill Shelton, Arkansas State trooper and financee of Kathy Ferguson. Fiance of Kathy Ferguson. Critical of the suicide ruling, his fiance, He was found dead in June 1994 of a gunshot wound, also ruled a suicide at the grave site of his fiancee. Gandhi Bowe, attorney for Clinton's friend Dan Lassiter, died by jumping out a window of a tall building in January 1994. His client was a convicted drug distributor. Florence Martin, accountant and subcontractor for the CIA, was related to Barry Seal, Mena, Arkansas airport drug smuggling case. He died of 3 gunshot wounds. How you shoot yourself 3 times? Susan Comey reportedly had an affair with Clinton when he was in Arkansas Attorney General. Died of a gunshot wound to the back of the head. Ruled suicide. Was pregnant at the time of her death. Paula Grober, Clinton's speech interpreter for the death from 1978 until her death in December of 1992. She died in a one-car accident. Danny Casalero, investigative reporter investigating Mena Airport and Arkansas Development Finance Authority. He slit his wrist apparently in the middle of his investigation. Then you got Paul Welcher, attorney investigating corruption at the Mena Airport with Casalero had died in 1980. October surprise, was found dead on a toilet June 22nd, 1993 in his Washington, D.C. apartment. Had delivered a report to Janet Reno 3 weeks before his death. Then you got John Purnell Walker, Whitewater investigator for Resolution Trust Corp., jumped to his death from his Arlington, Virginia apartment balcony August 15, 1995. Number 20, Barbara Wise, a Commerce Secretary staffer, worked closely with Ron Brown and John Hewitt. Cause of death unknown. Died November 29, 1996. Her bruised, naked body was found locked in her office at the Department of Commerce, and it goes on and on and on. I'll leave this down in the description section so y'all can check it out for yourself, because that was like number 20, and it goes all the way to 46, and including some of Clinton bodyguards. The Clintons had a bunch of bodyguards that happened to die under mysterious circumstances and suicides and stuff like that. And lastly, of course, we got Seth Rich. That's the most recent, prior to Epstein, of course. Seth Rich, the D.C. staffer, murdered and robbed of nothing on July 10th. WikiLeaks found Assange claims he had info on the DNC email scandal. And not included in this list is 4 men killed in Benghazi. This list also doesn't include several who lost their lives, some quite impressively in the run-up to the 2016 elections. These are just the latest bodies in a long trail of them around the Clintons. You may ask, are you claiming the Clintons had something to do with these 5 men's deaths? No. But I'm saying that the list of the dead people around the Clintons is quite long, and you have to admit that these deaths happened so close together should give you pause as to the official story that is coming out of each about each one, knowing Miss Clinton's record for lying, deceit, and engaging in the lives of Americans. So, I mean, I don't believe in coincidences. A lot of these deaths happen right when someone's either about to testify or about to deliver some information on the Clintons. They always happen to die from suspicious circumstances. Suicides, you have like 2-3 gunshot wounds to the back of the head. How you shoot yourself 3 times with a shotgun in the back of the head? Some of this stuff is just outrageous. But let me know what you think. Do you think the Clinton body count is real, or you think this is just someone's a bunch of people's imagination? Leave your comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and check out DEMOCREPUBLIX.com for the latest in news. Until next time.
We living on a real nightmare. We living on a real nightmare.